Jolly Rancher is the best candy. This is
no, I didn't say
like,
best.
are you
It
saying
is
top
up there.
3, top 5, top
I'll put it
100?
top 5. I'll put it top 5. And don't call me Old Brother's original guy. I'm not asking for butterscotch candy here.
Is this up there with like Good and Plenty and
No, I'm not my wife. She loves black licorice. I can't stand it.
both those are the horriblest candies of
She
all
loves
candy.
it, man. That's her favorite. I can't stand Good and Plenty's. But no, Jolly Ranchers are amazing. Like the green apple Jolly Ranchers.
Get a bit of honey. Like, let's name all the bad candies.
Bit of honey. The
So
big
this is
hump,
just a theme here. Yeah,
Charleston Chew.
it's bad.
No,
listen, we can process sugars in ways like you think fentanyl is sort of a refined process. We were doing this a long time ago with the Reese's Pieces. I don't know how they concentrate sugar that much that it actually hurts your throat to eat it.
Reese's Pieces are bad.
They're not
horrible.
Reese's peanut butter cups are where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you go Reese's Pieces because you think they're just the same kind in a candy shell. They're not. It's horrible. They use different peanut butter or something. So yeah.
But a Jolly Rancher.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jolly Rancher's amazing, man. They're great. What do you put? I did used to get bit of honeys. As a kid, I used to get bit of honeys.
Kit Kat bars, best candy. Snickers, it's classic.
It's good, Reese's. But it's not candy. It's chocolate.
Oh, so it needs to be like a hard candy that like an old person would keep in their pocket or purse.
Well, no, because you can get a pixie stick, and that's not going to keep in a pocket very well. You're going to have granulated sugar all over your pocket.
That's all it is in the first place, is granulated sugar.
I know, but you can't put that in your pocket because the pixie stick will dissolve.
All right, okay, so like by candy, then it needs to just be really old. Like old-timey.
It doesn't have to be really old, because I bet you could find a bunch of kids who are eating Sour Patch Kids today.
Sour Patch Kids counts as candy. That's fair. Right. Okay.
So that's not old-timey candy.
So if it's okay, so just not chocolate, and then it's candy.
Right. Chocolate is its own category.
Chocolate is its own thing. All right. That's fair. Gummy bears, gummy worms.
It's not bad.
I don't have
Pina colada gummy bears?
Huh?
Pina colada gummy bears, the white ones?
Yeah, those are
yeah. I like that. The pina colada is great.
The green ones are good.
Yeah, but those are strawberry, man. Why are they strawberry?
Why
are they strawberry? They're green. Why are they strawberry? They're green.
You act like this is the purest flavor of like that. That's not processed flavoring at all. Like the banana flavor tastes just like banana.
Banana runts, man. Banana runs are awesome. All right, we got to get going because it's 3 minutes into this bit already. But I will give you my favorite my favorite all time candy. I got two of them. I got two. One is Lick a Stick.
Mm-hmm.
Lick a Stick is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is Smarties.
Fun Dip.
Well, Lick a Stick is Fun Dip, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Fun Dip is great.
Nothing wrong with. I can't. The candies you can't crunch on when you get bored of it after like 30 seconds because I have no impulse control.
Yeah, you will break your tooth on the Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, we did a contest on like who could sort of like keep a peppermint in their mouth the longest without biting it. And I lost within 10 seconds. I just forgot it was the game and I just bit it. And
squirrel.
It was a little bit what happened. Awesome. And instead of squirrels today, we have Jesus before the council after being arrested. There's your sequitur.
That was a great segue. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we're in Mark chapter 14, beginning at verse 53.
Because that's what Peter does. Like Peter isn't understanding the questions.
That's why he denies him 3 times. Right. He just got distracted.
Right, squirrel. That's what it is.
Really, this would have been a very different narrative if the blessed apostle had some Ritalin. That's what we're saying.
That's what it would have been. You just
tune in here first, kids, for the theological hot takes.
If he just would have stayed focused at what was at hand, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, I know him. Spent 3 years with that guy."
Like us in church, got it.
Okay, I'm just joking. It's not fun.
They got too real. To
make light of this. Okay, where are we? Where are we starting?
14,
Young man
53.
flees.
Yeah, we already did that.
53?
53.
Jesus before the council, just like I said.
You want to read it? Yeah, I know.
I don't read.
Do you want to read it?
I don't read.
One day you'll get there. And they led Jesus to the high priest, and all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together. And Peter had followed him at a distance, right into the courtyard of the high priest, and he was sitting with the guards and warming himself at the fire. Now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but they found none. For many bore false witness against him, but their testimony did not agree. And some stood up and bore false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple made with hands, and in 3 days I will build another not made with hands. And yet, even about this, their testimony did not agree. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, Have you no answer to make? What is this that these men testify against you? But he, being Jesus, remained silent and made no answer. And again the high priest asked him, Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus said, I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven. And the high priest tore at his garments and said, What further witness do we need? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your decision? And they all condemned him as deserving death. And some began to spit on him, and to cover his face, and to strike him, saying to him, Prophecy. And the guards received him with blows. This is the word of the Lord.
Is it prophecy? Prophesy?
Prophesy?
I mean, aren't they telling you to prophesy? I think they're telling him to prophesy.
Prophesieth.
But I think it's spelled the same way, like wind and
wine. It is. I get them confused.
So wind and wine. I hate that.
Yeah. You can read. I can't.
Yeah, obviously.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. So what do you what's your take on this? Did your pastor preach on this on Good Friday? That happened a week ago, and
as we record this,
as we record, and 9.5 months as you listen.
Yeah. So
what did he preach on Good Friday for? I mean, not for, but what did he preach on Good Friday?
The death of Jesus.
I know, but there's so much in the reading of the gospel during that. I mean, you could preach on the denial. You could preach on, if it's Luke's version, you could preach on Judas coming back and giving the money, and you could preach on a lot of things. Obviously, the death of Jesus, but what did you?
So ours was further down the road. We'll get there. There. We're not there yet.
next
for Good Friday.
Next
time. We're still in the lead up. But this is the part where the irony starts coming on real thick, right? Like basically the entirety of the Passion narrative is especially to the hearer, to the reader. It's just steeped in irony. It's not only that God is saving you, but I really actually think that he's making a joke about it every single step of the way. Not because it's funny, not because we should make light of the sufferings and death of our Lord, but because the redemption to him is so certain that he's going to insist that everybody point to it whether or not they want to. And so from this thing, whether or not they want to, they start to condemn him for the things they should bow down to. And even when they try to lie about him, they can't even do a good job of it. But this is one of those places where, so they gather witnesses. The penal code at the time, because there's not like a prosecutor, you need 2 or 3 witnesses to testify against somebody of committing a crime. And the deuteral code against this is if these witnesses lie, the punishment is that they will bear the punishment of the crime of which they are
for their own
somebody
accusations.
Else of.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
It's huge. And so what they're accusing Jesus of something that is worthy of death in their sight. They know that they are doing it falsely. And so really, again, here's a place where they ought to die for the things that they're saying by their own hearts.
Well, do they know they're doing it? I mean, yes, they do, but like that whole tearing down the temple thing. Right.
And he actually said it. So I was like, where's the falsehood there? Because that's exactly what he said he was going to do.
Right. Exactly. I mean, before that, you do have Mark telling us that there were these instances where they were having this difficulty getting together because one was saying one thing and then the other was supposed to corroborate that, but they couldn't get their story straight because they probably didn't have enough time and beforehand. they were like, "Hey, Rick, this is what you got to say," and he forgot his lines and he said something different.
Well, but so here's again one of those great ironies is this is literally the thing that the atheists will accuse us of because we have four different narratives of the passion. And they'll say, look, John disagrees with Mark, disagrees with Matthew, disagrees with Luke. So clearly you guys didn't take time to get your story straight here and you're lying. It takes more than just not having every detail right or sort of focusing more on some parts than others. Uh, there for there had to be a story that does not agree, that means there has to be embellishment here, right?
Well, yeah. So are you saying the story doesn't agree in regards to them claiming that Jesus said he would tear down the temple? Or is it something else that they're not agreeing about? And then finally they're landing on this temple thing.
I'm gonna go for the latter. That they're just sort of throwing everything at the wall at this point in time, and it just sort of gets embellished in the telling, especially because it's mob mentality here at its worst.
Ah, they're just one-upping each other.
Right, like two kids on a playground or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Now it's all clear to me.
This is my thought. I don't know. Do you disagree? Do you have?
I don't know if I ever thought of it too much. I think I was kind of along the line of they got together. Yes, they're trying to get things to stick. Like for, this is happening Thursday night. And, we would say at least from Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe even Monday as well. Jesus was spending all that time preaching in the temple. Right. And this is when all of the guys, right? Oh, the Pharisees come. Oh, the scribes come. Oh, the Sadducees come. Oh, the Herodians come. And they're all trying to trip Jesus up from different things. So my guess is they're actually bringing these people who maybe even actually spoke with Jesus in the temple, but there's nobody to corroborate exactly what Jesus said. So it's this render unto Caesar, unto Caesar, unto God, if that's one of the examples, right? You've got a bunch of different people who are trying to say, see, he said this in regards to blah, blah, blah. And they just can't get anything to stick. And they know that we just got to find one stupid thing to get it to stick. And it very well might have been, well, I think it is, as we're seeing here at least, the public claim that Jesus said in front of everybody of the tearing down of the temple, right? And so everybody can actually come to, yeah, that was public. We were all there. Yeah, we did hear him say that. And how dare you say you're going to tear down the temple? That's where God actually does all of his work. How could you do that? How blasphemous of you to say that you're going to tear down the place where God is.
Right, and obviously, pleading the fifth here, Jesus makes no response, and then really dodges a bullet by not at all claiming to be the Son of the Blessed, who will show up at the last day with the clouds of heaven in all power at the right hand of God.
Right.
Because this is it. He never has hidden this. Like to anybody who has confessed these things, he's like, "Yep."
Yeah, and that's why again, and we don't have to go down any crazy rabbit holes about atheists who say trying to get the gotcha card of, oh yeah, especially in Mark's gospel, because we think it's the earliest gospel. You never have Jesus actually saying that he's God. Maybe you'll have other people later on saying that he's God, and then, but no, like you said, he kind of lands it
who
on the
besides
nose.
God is here? Yeah.
And even if you don't want to do that I am thing, which I think scholars just can agree or disagree on what that is, some say that's the ego I me, that's the divine I am.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
The name Yahweh in Greek instead of Hebrew. Yeah.
And others say, well, you come across that in other places in Greek literature where somebody actually says ego I me, and they're not claiming that they're God. So maybe this isn't the case. I don't know. I would venture to say that it probably is. But when Jesus even says later on there in 62, right, I am, and you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power. For us, all those of us, including myself, who are not as biblically literate as we think, right, we hear Son of Man, and we think, oh, he's speaking to his humanity there. But if you go Old Testament, where Son of Man is spoken of, that's always a reference to divinity.
Right.
right? I see the Son of Man coming. And so Old Testament Son of Man is always a divine reference. So if Jesus here is claiming, yes, I am, I'm the guy you just said, and you'll see me as the Son of Man in all of his divine glory coming and doing this. He is actually making that claim of, yeah, I am who you said I am. And I've been saying it the whole time.
Yeah, and I understand, like, he does not, like, stop, look at the camera, and break the fourth wall and say, I am the second person of the Trinity, God incarnate. But also, like, they say this too because the word Trinity is not in the Bible, and we ascribe to a Trinitarian God.
Right.
Also, if you describe a thing perfectly, sometimes that's actually easier to use it to teach than the name. And so, like, if I tell you that there is a bird who likes bread and swims in the pond and says quack, you can get me on the technicality of, like, he did not say duck, but that's a duck. That's right. A duck. This right here is quacking like a duck. Dude, there's no one else that is this, not even does this, but is this, other than God Almighty.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing as well. Again, going against the dissenters who would say that Jesus has never claimed that he's God. No, just look at the reaction of the high priest after that.
Right.
Like the people who would know the vernacular and know the history and know the inferences that Jesus is making here are sitting there going, boom, there it is. He said it out loud finally. He is claiming to be God. Tear my clothes, rend my garments, put him on the cross, that he deserves to die. So all of the religious leaders of that day hear Jesus saying this, and all of them are like, boom, blasphemy. He's making that claim. You heard it here first. Let's go. So to say that Jesus didn't really ever say that he was God, it's foolish.
Yeah, there's a lot of places here throughout the scriptures, and this is absolutely one of them. You want to keep going with it, or you got more here?
I don't know. Do you have more there? Did you want to say anything about that prophecy? That prophecy part where he's yelling, he hits him on the face. He says, prophecy.
No. And as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high
I was doing that because you said it wrong.
Because I said it wrong. I'm going to pretend I don't know how to read now. Priest came, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, you also are with the Nazarene, Jesus. But he denied it, saying, I neither know nor understand what you mean. And he went out into the gateway, and the rooster crowed. And the servant girl saw him, and began again to say to the bystanders, this man is one of them. But again he denied it, and after a little while the bystanders said to Peter, certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean. But he began to invoke a curse upon himself, and to swear, I do not know this man of whom you speak. And immediately the rooster crowed a second time, and Peter remembered how Jesus had said to him before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times. And he broke down and wept. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Oh, how quickly the mighty have fallen, Peter. Goodness gracious, right? Is it he the one who claimed that he would never fall away? Bad Peter. Is it he the one that Mark alludes? Mark tells us that one of the disciples drew his sword and fought and wanted to keep all this from happening. Cat. And he but then later we hear from John that John will actually say, nah, it was Peter. It was Peter. Yeah, everybody to know it was Peter who did that. So we've got this Peter who promised Jesus that he'd never fall away. Jesus is like, yeah, you will, before the night's over. Draws his sword. He's going to stop this. Don't go to the cross. Don't go to the cross, Jesus. You can't go there. We're going to keep you from doing it. And then you've got him here denying him.
Right. So
I mean, I would never do that.
At least not 3 times, maybe once or twice, but like there's limits. No, I think it actually matters that Peter sees this put forward. And I think that his hand is inside. His hand is involved with this. He allows his sin, his failure, his doubt, his whatever you want to call it, his first commandment sin, to be put on display here. because this is one of those places where what we desperately want is a Jesus who goes to the cross, but not for me. Like we want a Jesus who's willing to die for like the world, but like I'm gonna do the right thing the whole way here.
So are you saying this in regards to Mark very well could have been Peter's gospel?
Not Peter's gospel, but in the same way that Luke has Pauline leadings,
right?
Mark also has Petrine leadings. I think that as we have this in the same way that Mark makes sure that everybody knows that Mark was there as a sinner who is redeemed. Right. Peter is also making sure he's there as a sinner who is redeemed. The apostles are not sort of the ones who are here to make sure everybody else is okay. They're the ones who are here because they need it.
Right. He's not the holy pope who was without sin. Right. It's in every way, shape, and form. He's there just like Peter's, just like us. So yeah, it's so easy for us to, with all the disciples, all the apostles, to, in retrospect, speak about how we would have done better.
We even make it present tense, though. Like we talk about the age of martyrdom that we're in, and even though that's not happening in America right now, by the way, that's
not in America, but I think
in other. But like we talk about it in America, like if they came in here to my church today, would I be willing to die for my Lord? And surely I would never deny my Lord. I would never do this. I'll be with the Lord even into the end. If I have to be martyred, so be it. I'll cut off an ear for Jesus. It's the same thing that we retell and learn nothing from. I don't know. I might be a sinner. I might be a coward. I might just freeze. Jesus still died. That's the point of this.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, if you definitely want to stop here and you don't read the rest of the story, then yeah, that is, you might get to that point. You might have Peter just weeping in this utter dejection and despair. I have this feeling that just like with Judas, and again, we don't get the fullness of the Judas account in this gospel, but you do have this understanding of both of them have been brought through the second use of that law to the full understanding of what they have done in every way, shape, and form. And I think Peter hears the exact same thing, right? As he's sitting there in the moment, being terrified of everything that's happening around him, because literally in the last 2 hours, his world has just crumbled. He was there just eating the Passover with Jesus, and this new supper was instituted, and everything's amazing. And then all of a sudden, hell breaks loose. And he's, the adrenaline's worn off, and here he is sitting there. And he understands. He understands that if he says yes, there's a really good chance that those guys with the pointy swords that are holding Jesus in chains over there just might wrap him up too. And that's a terrifying thing. And so, yeah, he's been brought to that recognition of, just like Jesus said, I'm going to fall away. And I did. I don't have the ability to stand up for Jesus.
Right, but here's also there's a comfort in this. And hear me, it's not good that Peter is sinning. It's not good that he is doubting. It's not good that he is denying the Lord. But if the Lord says you're going to do a thing, probably like the omniscient Lord of all, the response to him is not nuh-uh. And instead, it is thanks be to God.
Well, you're gonna have to explain the thanks be to God part. But let's go to that then with the omniscient God, Jesus actually saying this. In what way is he saying this? Is he saying this prescriptively? Like Peter could do no other, right? It had been written fatalistically since the dawn of time. You absolutely will.
So we are not we are not saying that Peter is sort of predestined to be reprobate lest. But what we are saying is the Lord who sees all and knows the hearts of all knows what's going to happen.
Right.
And this is also why he's going to address it. So it's not just sort of here's your fortune. Will you somehow outwit fate and overcome all odds? It's rather Jesus saying this is this is what will be. And then this is what I'm going to do about it. Because in all the same ways, Jesus is also saying, and I will be delivered into the hands of evil men to be beaten and crucified, and on the third day be raised. And this is where you have to say, thanks be to God. Because, yeah, I would love a superhero version of me that just doesn't sin and proves God wrong all the time when he says you're going to mess up, and then I look so good. What you have over and over again is a chance to try to not need Jesus. Thanks be to God is the response when God tells you you're going to be a sinner, but only because you know who he is. He is the savior of sinners. He saves only sinners. And so if you are not a sinner, then Jesus isn't dying for you. For Jesus to tell Peter, you're going to be very outspokenly one of the ones of whom I will redeem. The answer is not, I'm glad that there's sin, but rather, thanks be to God, because you have told me the truth and you have acted in mercy, and you will act in more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you probably have to be careful with the blanket statement of thanks be to God, Peter rejected Christ.
No, thanks be to God that if the Lord tells you you're going to reject me and I'm going to die and then rise,
for that very sin,
the answer is not nuh-uh.
Right.
It's thanks be to God.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But Peter, I don't think Peter recognizes that yet.
No, not yet.
I mean, the gospel has been proclaimed insofar as, right, he came to redeem the lost. He's the great physician, all of these things. I 3 times at least said very blatantly, I'm going to do these things. Don't worry, on the third day I'll rise from the dead. But do you think Peter, in this weeping, has in that back of his mind the proclamation of the gospel yet, or do you think he's at a complete and utter loss, like Judas was? And now the only difference, is that well, I don't know. The only difference is that Peter isn't going to find. He's not trying to take care of this himself yet. Which maybe he's just too terrified to do so.
You're playing with it all in intention. And the reality is, if there is going to be preaching, it's going to be extra nos. It's going to be outside of oneself. The difference between Judas and Peter is the sermons that got preached to them. Judas was preached, see to it yourself, right, by the chief priests. And Peter was proclaimed the gospel. But I'm going to say that, yeah, he was just as dejected and cast aside and awful feeling and full of doubt and despair as Judas. This is that Luther quote, we need to hear the gospel every day because we forget it every day. This is why the apostles themselves are not content to just write a book. I think this is sort of the downside of like American Christianity deep into the 20th and 21st centuries is everybody has a Bible, and it's the worst. And by that, I mean, we have sort of figured that this can all be distilled down into information that you know, and then once you know it, you're fine. Right. Jesus didn't say go into all nations and leave them a pamphlet, but set up churches, build churches, and preach week after week, day after day, because there's going to be people needing this.
Right. No, well, you're going to be needing this. Yeah. No, I love that how you spoke about that, because it is so very true. It's probably not just our own generation, but I think it is certainly there that we've got this. I mean, how many of us have heard as pastors? How many of us have said as individuals, even if not exact these words out loud, but said to ourselves as we skipped church for the third Sunday in a row? I'll just make sure that I read devotions again. It's just wow, it's for me to know.
Listen, you can go to higherthings.org/reflections and daily read or listen to wonderful 2-minute long devotions, law and gospel for you.
Don't tell me my business is between me and Jesus. I mean, that's our thought, right? Again, it is this. And like you said, unfortunately, our Western brain and thought process is this. This is a book. It will give you information. Take information, plug it into brain. Everything's all set. Just like your Pythagorean theorem, and just like this, you know that information. You can put this information out, and everything's fine. As opposed to this being living and active, as opposed to this actually giving to you in time and space the very things that it promised, which isn't just intellectual knowledge, but it is the true forgiveness of sins. It is the body and blood of your Lord who died for you. It is the promise of the resurrection, that though you were buried into his death, you will be raised to new life in his resurrection. It is all of this stuff actually delivered to you in time and space, different than any other book that you can pick up and garner information from.
Right. No, I think that's absolutely it. It's a great time to sort of take a long, slow victory drink. It's a question here. Keep going. You're committed to the bit now.
I am. You keep reading, otherwise it's gonna be real awkward.
That's my ballpark. No, I think here that it's a recognition that even as Peter is sort of being called out here over and over again, it happens 3 times, and so it's not just the adrenaline response, which is what I sort of used to imagine it being. Like, you just sort of got caught up in the moment and denied him once, and then there's enough time in between here, chug, 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 that he has a chance to process it. It's full on a fear that's taking over. And I don't think that it's even in his heart or his mind a question of right and wrong, but this is the reality of what old Adam does, is he tries to live apart from God and his word, because he's so desperate just not to die. Whereas the new man simply says, I have already died with Christ, and so I will be raised with him. And if we can ever sort of talk about Christian martyrdom and ever talk about how it is to face persecution, we cannot speak about it simply in terms of, would you be willing to? But it's really a question just simply of, is death broken for you now? Have you already died or not? Because otherwise, everything is sort of your sort of courage versus your cowardice, instead of your identity. You are already a saint, a part of the resurrection. And if that means you die of old age in your bed, thanks be to God. And if it means that he's called you home early, even by the sword, that you would join the throng pleading before the throne of the Lamb in the book of Revelations for the vengeance of the martyrs, thanks be to God. Because in both cases, I still know where Jesus is. He has died, he has risen, and he rules at the right hand of the Lord, and will come with the clouds in all power and glory to judge the living and the dead.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God.
I think yeah. That was great. Okay.
Bye.